Hello everybody, thank you for coming back to the channel and welcome to this new chapter on the Guillows Hurricane RC conversion. You might have seen it, you might not. If you haven't, then look in the history of the videos. This is a miserable failure. The build was nice, everything went well, but it doesn't fly. Why doesn't it fly? It doesn't have enough power, enough energy. So what I want to do now, I wanted to give it one last chance to see if I can get it to fly, and if not, what I'll do, I'll just rip apart the guts, basically take out the ESC and the motor and try to use it for other things. So this is going to be a bit of a long explanation. Let's see if I can take the cowling off. On this design, this is from the ESC P51, all the motors, they have a gearbox. So there's the little electric motor in there, I think you might be able to see it, silver colored, and then there's a little gear wheel, and then it goes to this bigger gear wheel, and then this turns the prop. I'm sure the gearbox has a purpose. It slows down the turn, but it probably gives it more torque. I'm just guessing on this. My theory is, and I might be completely wrong on this, is that if I take that gearbox out, then the propeller will turn faster. Now, it might not have enough torque, right? But I'm not sure how to test that. So what I want to do, I'm not going to do it directly on the model. I'm going to put it aside. I've got another ESC, same model that I burnt a servo on. Let's see if I can show you. And I've also built up this little cart. It was an experiment that I wanted to somehow drive it around. The propeller goes here. I have to find the propeller now. The propeller goes here and it moves forward basically, right? It's kind of like an RC car, propeller driven. Bit of an experiment that didn't work too well either. But what I want to do, I want to use this setup to try to see what is the difference in the thrust that the motor, the ESC and motor will bring. So what I want to do, I want to use this. I put, I think, two different sets of propellers. One is going to be the two-bladed set. I think I have a three-bladed propeller somewhere, maybe one of the aeroplanes, that I also want to test out. And then I'm going to try to set it up without the gearbox. So take it, this is glued, so I have to unglue it, take out the motor, try to connect the motor to the propeller because it's got a gear wheel on it, so that's also going to be a challenge. And again, try it out and see if the thrust that the motor does or creates without the gearbox is in any way higher than the one with the gearbox. If it is higher, then I'll do the adaptation on the Hurricane back there, and I'll have to take away all the engine mount and remount the motor so that the propeller is basically connected like a direct drive to the motor. So that is the plan. If it's the same thrust or no big difference, then let's just go ahead and rip the Hurricane apart and use the electronics for other conversions. Now, how am I going to do this? So I've been thinking about it a little bit. And I did do some tests in the past with very limited success. What I have here in this jig that I put together is a piece of wood. I just need it for the screw so that I can hold that. I've got a film canister. Some of you might remember the film canisters. I still use film to take pictures. And I've got a precision scale that I got on a cheap offer somewhere. So what I want to do, I'm going to connect this up. So basically hook this on. I'll put the propeller on. You need to put the weight here so it doesn't tip in any way. And then the plan is, if the tension is kind of the same on each side, that when that propeller will thrust, when the propeller will turn, it will generate thrust. I'll have to turn the scales on before, and then I'll see how much of the weight it picks up. It'll be a few grams. I don't think it's going to be much. This whole canister, I've put in some nuts and bolts in it. The weight of it is 64 grams. I don't think it will generate more thrust than that. If it does, then all well and good. I just have to put in more weight, so no big worry about that. And then I'm going to have to build up some kind of chart. I have to write down a piece of paper what propeller, if it's a two-bladed, a three-bladed propeller, with gearbox, without gearbox, and at least do, I would say, maybe 2 or 3 runs of each to try to average out what is the thrust that each setup has. Okay, so that is the plan for the experiment. Now what I have to do, I have to go and find propellers. I've got them somewhere, and start to build up the charts, and then let's see how that goes. So I might show you also some of that process that we can see how it goes. I've prepared some fancy on-screen graphics. So here we're going to do the test as is now with the gearbox, or the gear reduction, two-bladed prop that we have here, and three-bladed prop that we have here. I decided to do 4 tests, not for any other reason that it fitted on the piece of paper, so why not, and then I'll calculate the average and see. I can also then do the measurement that I wanted to do some time back and failed, if there's any difference between the 2 and the 3-bladed prop. Once this side of the chart is done, then I have to do the reconstruction on the jig, let's call it the jig, and try also with the direct drive. So that's the plan. And also one thing that I wanted to mention is that actually the project I should be working on was to clear the table for the next project, and I haven't done that, but I was thinking that using the propeller to blast things off the table is also a good way to clear the table. So let's start the first run. So propeller on, it is bound, I have connected it. Testing. So I had a little bit of a situation with the propeller. Let's see if I show you. When I switched over to the 3-bladed propeller, I was getting thrust of 2 grams, which of course couldn't be true, and I found out that the propeller was slipping on the shaft. So I had to fix it somehow, and now it works well. And these are the results for the gearbox. As you can see, significantly higher thrust with the 3-bladed propeller, which is good. So what I've done now, I've taken the motor out of the gearbox and put it in from the other side, and I've managed somehow to fix the prop holder directly to the shaft of the motor. Not as easy as I thought it was going to be initially. It's a very narrow shaft, and I hope that I think it's a bit wobbly, it's not completely straight. I hope it holds, that the propeller doesn't fly off and damage itself. That would be the worst. And so now what I'm going to do is set this up again. Let's see, the battery is plugged in already, and now what I'm going to do is the test with the direct drive 2-bladed propeller. Let's see if this doesn't fly away yet. I'll turn on the scale, that's important. It's zeroed out. Yeah, it's turning backwards. I probably have to, because with the gear actually it turns the other way around, so I have to recable it so that the poles of the motor are the other way around. So I'll be right back. I'm back now, hopefully cabled the right way around. Let's see if it spins the right way around at least. The propeller flew off. So my propeller holding mechanism is not working well enough. So back to square one. So some interesting development. So I've got the 2-bladed prop connected to the motor direct drive. I want to fill this out. I was going to do it, but then something is happening. I can turn on the scales. Let's see if it's connected. There, so it starts to turn, as you can see. Has a little bit of thrust, but not really very much, and then it just stops. I'm maybe like a quarter throttle up, maybe a third throttle up, and it stops. I'm going to put it down a little bit. If I take the prop off, it won't create any thrust, of course. But I can go up to the maximum throttle. I'm going to try now the 3-bladed prop. Let's see. It's haven't tried this one yet, but I don't expect different results. So let's see. Maybe we can reset this. Let's see if somehow you can see everything. And again, like maybe 1/3 or 40% of the throttle up, it stops. So what this means for the whole project is that I cannot use the direct drive. I'm not sure why. Somebody might be able to know. Probably Richard knows. He always knows these things. So I cannot fill out this other side of the chart. The good thing, the interesting thing is that the 3-bladed prop does have a significant higher, maybe a 40% higher thrust, which is maybe a reason to use the 3-bladed props on the Wellington. The Wellington is underpowered drastically and does not hold itself up in the air, but maybe if I put 2 3-bladed props on it, then it might work. But it also means, like the sentence, let's say for the Guillows Hurricane, is that it won't be able to fly, not with this motor, not with this CSC. So what I'm going to do, the next step, is to rip out the electronics. So I'm afraid it's the end of the road for the Hurricane. It was good while it lasted, not very long, but the electronics will come out and will go into some other project that I have in mind. In any case, thank you everybody for watching and for following along on this strange chapter, but interesting one, at least for me, to do the experiment. And I'll see you next time.